What's going on, sports card hobby friends? We are back again, another day, another sports card video. Guys, we've got a trio of smaller stories that add up to a bunch of goodness. So we're going to talk about that today. Make sure if you haven't already, about half of you have not subscribed to the channel, and that hurts my feelings. It hurts me deep inside. So please hit that subscribe button if you're here watching anyway. I would very much appreciate it. Also, don't forget to connect with me on IG at SportsCardDad. Huge shout out to today's video sponsor, DC Sports 87. You might not feel like selling all of your stuff individually on eBay. All you have to do is send it over to the boys and gals over at DC Sports 87. They list it all for you on their website in real time as auctions end and stuff is paid for. You see it all happening. It takes one business day. You request your payment out, one business day for them to process it and get that started for you. So it's very easy, simple process working through DC Sports 87. Make sure to check them out today. All right, the Fanatics Topps Panini Plot Thickens here recently. At the Philly Card Show, I was watching IG and I noticed that Santiago Sports had put a video up where he's got Michael Rubin. He's talking to Michael Rubin, it looks like, in his booth. And there's a question asked of, Panini and what's going on there. And Michael Rubin just answers it. He provides his feedback on it. Essentially saying that Panini not really able to make cards anymore. The legal system will work its way through it. Frank, do we have a clip of what Santiago said? Of course he's in agreement. Of course he is in agreement. And I just think it's funny. Anytime you look at these guys that are out here kind of doing the vlog type stuff, and it's like, please God, Michael Rubin, give me allocation. I know that this guy it's your new messiah. And also, while you're at it, if I could get a white party invitation, I know that's what Santiago's probably thinking. Please get me to the white party. It's just funny. Rubin does talk about how Panini most likely going to be forced into what he calls pajama cards, and that's essentially unlicensed cards. So pajama cards, of course, they can't be in NFL or NBA logos or whatever it is. They can't have all the gear on, so they would be pajama cards that if Panini was to continue on. The thing that's really interesting here too is I'm trying to figure out if it's just posturing or if this just tells us that there is no way that there's going to be a sale between Fanatics and Panini. At this point, are we too far down the road now with all the variety of lawsuits to where Panini will never sell to Fanatics and or Fanatics would never buy Panini? I don't think it's the other way on Fanatics' side. I do think that Fanatics would love to buy Panini for Prism, for National Treasures, and for the very popular brands that they have in place. But I'm just not sure if Panini will be willing to sell. And of course, at this point, Fanatics just trying to stranglehold, to get the best deal, really. I just don't know, out of sheer principle, I'm just not sure if Panini would go for it. Maybe they sell, but just not to Fanatics. Maybe they sell to somebody else. I'm not really sure. Or they're just going to, hey, we're going to ride this out and we're going to make our own cards and we're just going to go a different way if we do lose the licenses, etc. So it's really interesting to watch that. But just hearing Michael Rubin specifically talk directly to it was an interesting soundbite. Now, we also did hear the WWE, of course, they just did their deal where they terminated and they filed a restraining order against Panini to stop them from selling products. A New York judge just shot down their request to make that happen, citing that he could not find irreparable harm to grant that request, that restraining order. So how does that play out with all the other stuff that they've got going on with other leagues or other players associations? It's going to be interesting, guys. The plot thickens with the Panini Fanatics stuff. And of course, this is almost daily. You're going to have, almost daily, we've got updates as far as the different court cases go on. So let's just see how this thing plays out. All right. While we're talking about Fanatics, Topps, a little bit of a bungle. Actually, some would say this is a kind of a big deal. But I know for those Fanatics Topps fans, you're like, oh man, stop talking bad about Fanatics Topps. We will have a feel-good story in our last section here, so stick around. Backyard Breaks and Slab Stocks both pulled a 1-of-1 Superfractor for the same guy. Same card. How does that happen? They're 1-of-1s. That's the whole point of the chase. That's what makes the product cool, and that's why people are buying it, because of the 1-of-1. If the card gets damaged or something, you have a complaint, so you need to replace, you need a replacement card. But the fact that you have them out in the product means that your replacement, I don't know if there was a replacement card, just a mistake, but it's the second time that it's happened in the last 7 to 10 days. And that's a little bit of the scary thing is that how many more might be out there? How many more are going to surface? Or is this just kind of a one-off or two-off thing where this happened? I think there's definitely room for skepticism here. I mean, there's room for complaint because, look, This hobby's not cheap. You know, boxes are not cheap, cards are not cheap. People are spending big money on this stuff. And so if you're going to say it's a one of one, if it's definitely a one of one, it needs to be a one of one. I think that's kind of the obvious thing, right? We'll see if Topps Fanatics responds to this. Also, lastly, Jeff Wilson, and I'm going to coin Jeff Wilson the Ryan Seacrest of the hobby. And I mean that as a compliment. My buddy Jeff Wilson out here doing his newscaster stuff, and he was in San Antonio where Topps invited out all the redemption holders that had the redemption for the Wemby autograph, the first card ever signed in Wembanyama. And as many had speculated, hey, it's being taken place in San Antonio. Wemby was actually there. So this is where Topps Fanatics and the marketing team doing some good stuff here. And this is kind of what you want to see. Honestly, they've done a lot of good things on the marketing side. The marketing side doesn't seem to be an issue with Topps Fanatics, whether it's Michael Rubin hooking up a young fan of Devin Booker, and she ended up going to a game and getting a signed jersey. I mean, all that stuff. The marketing team is killing it over there at Fanatics Topps. It's just some of the quality control stuff that they need to really work on and figure out. But so Jeff Wilson, the Ryan Seacrest of the hobby, was out there in San Antonio reporting on this. Frank, do we have a clip? I think we've got a clip.
All right, guys, I've made it to San Antonio, and we are here right before the opening of the Topps and Fanatics Victor Wembanyama event. This is going to be incredible. You guys have to check this out. This is a special event they're doing for collectors who pull one of the redemption cards for these green out of 99 Victor Wembanyama cards from Bowman U Chrome. Those people who pulled one of those redemptions are about to come into this room. Topps has flown them out here to San Antonio. They're going to get to experience this. They put them up in this beautiful hotel on the Riverwalk, and Victor Wembanyama is going to be here in a few minutes to sign the cards and hand it to them personally. This is going to be an incredible event. They're going live here on Fanatics Live in a little bit to broadcast the whole thing. I'm excited to be here. Stay tuned.
And the one thing that's cool about this, you got a bunch of folks in the room. It's obviously an average collector that wins.
The winning number is the 15.
Oh, 15!
You can take your card right here.
Wow. Look at this.
Turn around, my man. Turn around so we can see you right here.
Look at this.
The guy with the t-shirt on.
And I think this is always good to see. You don't want to see some high-profile millionaire or whatever winning this sort of thing. You can tell, and maybe this guy is a millionaire. I'm not taking anything away from him, but you can just tell, like, you know, this was a guy that really wanted it, and it was really cool. Average Joe collector is what it struck me as, and so I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed watching him win. And then Wemby, of course, hands it to him himself. I mean, does it get much better than that? So some interesting movement here in the sports card world with Fanatics, Topps, and all the Panini stuff over this past few days. We had to report on it. Guys, stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.